Hi, welcome to my show, Celebrity Interviews with Milk and Cookies. I'm your host, Lipsonly Crockett IV. Mr. Ed Jones, also known as Mr. Too Tall Jones, is here with me today. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for coming to have Milk and Cookies today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you have the most amazing career. I don't know where to start. Yes, it is very awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, first, I think my audience should know the facts. You were born in Jackson, Tennessee. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You played baseball and basketball, but only played 3 high school football games. Can you tell me why?
Okay, I grew up on a farm in Jackson, Tennessee.
Yes.
And the first high school I attended didn't have football. So I played baseball, basketball, and ran track. And by the time I was a senior, I watched the football a lot. And actually, the team that I watched a lot was the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Dallas Cowboys was my favorite team. And my friends and I said one day, we're going to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. So I talked my parents and they let me transfer to a school in the city and live with my sister to try out for football, which they allowed me to do. But unfortunately for me, I was a very good basketball player. I was All-American in both basketball and baseball. Well, the coach there at the high school that coached football also coached basketball and baseball. So he allowed me to play, but he only played me in 3 games. He put me in the middle of the line where he felt that people would probably knock me off my feet right away, and he'd have me for basketball and baseball. So I still had that burning desire even after I left and finished high school that year to play football.
So, you then signed with Tennessee State University to play basketball.
Yes, I had what they called at the time a split scholarship. I could play basketball, baseball, and try for football if I wanted to. So what I decided to do was to try out for football and play basketball also. And if I didn't like football, I'd go back to baseball. So I'll never forget the first day at practice. I walked into the equipment room to get my uniform, and the longest pair of pants they had fit me above my knees. Now, you know, your pants supposed to hit you below your knees. So the equipment manager said, wear these, stay out of contact drills, we'll have your pair made. So the first day I walked out to practice, one of my teammates looked at me and said, you know you're too tall for football. That's how I got the nickname, Too Tall.
You only played 2 seasons and started playing football, right?
Yes, I played both sports for 2 years, got to win a Division II championship in basketball. But one of the starters on Tennessee State's football team got hurt. So I had to play. And even though I didn't feel I was ready at the time, but I went out there and gave it 110% every time that I stepped on that football field and made honorable mention All-American. So I felt like if I just dropped basketball and devoted all of my time to football, I would make All-American my junior year, which I did.
So you were also an All-American defensive lineman, and your team won the Black College Football National Championship, right? That's
right. Not only did we win the Black College Championship, we also won the Division II Championship. I was blessed to have really good teammates, great coaching, when I think back now, if I hadn't attended a Division II school, I wouldn't be sitting here now.
Your parents must be so proud of you.
My parents were very proud of me, but I'm even more proud of my parents because early on in life, my parents taught me that if you want anything in life, you have to really work hard at it. And so I had good work ethics at a very young age because of my parents.
So before we get into the NFL, Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is?
Do I know what time it is?
Yes.
Close.
It's now time for the cookie bump before you dunk. I'll show you how to do it. So, you get a cookie, just like me, get a cookie, and then it's just like a, fist bump, but with a cookie.
Okay.
So you fist bump, and then you dip into the milk,
All right.
and then you eat it.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Now let's do a cookie crunch on the mic. Like this.
The proper way. Because, see, the way I learned how to eat cookies, when I was growing up, I would dip the cookie in the milk and then swallow the whole cookie.
What?
I love cookies.
I love cookies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, in 1974, you were drafted as the number 1 pick by the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yes, in 1974, what happened was the Dallas Cowboys traded Billy Parks, a receiver, and Toby Smith, Bubba Smith's brother, a defensive end, to the Houston Oilers. Houston Oilers finished last. So the Dallas Cowboys had the first pick in 1974. And they drafted me, which is a dream come true because growing up as a kid, I loved that star on that helmet. I love watching Coach Landry with his suits and ties and hat on the sideline. And I could name every player on the team.
Can you tell me how you felt playing for the Cowboys?
It felt very good because I walked into a good situation. The Dallas Cowboys was winning when I joined the Dallas Cowboys. And my first 5 years, I went to 3 Super Bowls. And everybody's goal at the beginning of the season is to go to the Super Bowl. And I know a lot of players who had long careers and had great careers, meant a lot to football, that never had the opportunity to play in 1 Super Bowl. So to play in 3 my first 5 years was totally a dream come true.
So I think if you joined them again, they'd be like, oh no, Tootle's coming back. We better hide.
Now, I think if I joined them again, they would have an excuse for losing.
Yeah.
Football, the young man game, and only thing the Cowboys need from me is to support them like I do. I'm a big fan, and anytime I see some of the defensive linemen, I try and share some of the things that made me the football player that I was. And they have a bunch of class guys on there that listen to not only myself, but several other players who played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're still a really big champion for them. You're still a really big one.
Well, thank you, and that's why I love it when it doesn't matter where I travel, whether it be in the United States or abroad, people recognize me, and it's because of the fact that I played for the Dallas Cowboys and the success that the Dallas Cowboys have had over the years, which means we have fans everywhere.
You played with the Dallas Cowboys from 1974 to 1978 and helped them win Super Bowl 12, right?
That's right.
Wow. So what was that like to you?
It was a great feeling. We played the Denver Broncos, and it was predicted to be a very close game. They had a good offensive team, good defensive team, very well coached, and so did we. But we beat up on them pretty bad. We won something like 37-10, I believe. But the most exciting thing was the fact that on the ride back to the hotel after the game, I was sitting next to my teammate Harvey Martin. And I looked at Harvey and I said, Harvey, do you realize when we wake up tomorrow morning, we are world champions? And Harvey looked at me and he was at a loss for words. And if you know anything about Harvey Martin, Harvey's never at a loss for words. But that feeling you get knowing that you are a world champion, you've achieved everything that you set out to achieve, it's something that I wish every football player could experience. You can't explain it in words. It's something that you have to live it.
I had Oakland Raiders legend Mr. Tim Brown on my show this week, and he said he loved Coach Tom Landry. And can you tell me about him? Because it looks like he's a really good coach.
First of all, Tim Brown was a very good football player. The type player that you wish that you could have had the opportunity to play with him. Coach Landry, the thing that I admired about Coach Landry most was the fact that Coach Landry loved his players, and you knew that. He treated you like you were his son. Also, being a football player, one thing you want from coaches, and that's to be mentally and physically prepared. And I can honestly say, playing for Coach Landry, we were never out-coached. We lost games because you were better than us that day, but not because we didn't know what you were going to do and what your tendencies were.
You stopped playing football and went into professional boxing with a perfect record of 6-0. That's
true. When I was a kid growing up, my father's favorite sport was boxing. And like most kids out there in the country where I grew up at, we all wanted to be like our dad. So our dad oftentimes would make rings for us, for all my friends and I, to get in the ring, and he give us these big, heavy gloves where we couldn't hurt anybody, and let us box. And when I got old enough where my parents would allow me to ride 6 miles on my bike into the city, and I would go and attend a boxing gym there where the trainers just kind of took me under their wings and taught me everything about boxing. And then my senior year in high school, I decided to fight in the Golden Gloves. I won my first fight. I knocked my opponent out in 36 seconds, and I made the front page of the newspaper. Now, growing up in Jackson, Tennessee, when you made the front page of the newspaper, that was very special. But unfortunately, my coach saw it and gave me an ultimatum. He told me I could either box or play basketball. And that was a no-brainer. I mean, I was college coaches was coming from all around the country to see me play basketball. So I had to give up something that I really liked. But I knew one day I would fight again. And after playing 5 years with the Dallas Cowboys, I played my first contract out. I decided then that I wanted to pursue a lifelong dream. And I fought, had 6 fights, won all 6 fights. And after that 1 year, I decided to return to the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys welcomed me back with open arms.
Talk about any good, but it's cookie time again.
It's cookie time again? Yeah. Now that sounds good to me.
But I bet you couldn't fit 2 cookies in your mouth at the same time.
You know what? That's something that I've never done. I've never done that before, and if I tried it, I'd probably lose the bet.
Yeah, maybe. Let's have a cookie.
Okay.
Cookie bump before you dunk.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
All right. This was even better. Better than the first one.
But you had it a time, and then you have it again, and then you really like it.
Oh, yeah.
So what were you like when you were my age? Were you funny? Were you silly? Were you that kind of kid that didn't really like to talk to anyone? What kind of kid were you?
No, I like I said, I grew up on a farm, and I enjoyed doing things out on the farm, like riding horses. We also had a lot of baseball fields. I loved playing baseball with my friends. I've always been fond of track and field, so I used to love racing my friends and bicycle riding.
Who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher was a lady by the name of Miss Marie Williams. And I say she was my favorite because she's the one that got me interested in sports. And when I was a young kid, she sold her car and bought a station wagon so that myself, along with my friends, could go compete with other communities in baseball.
What was your favorite toy?
My favorite toy, probably Jack
Yes.
Rocks.
What are those?
You know, where you pitch the ball and pick up the Jack Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite.
It sounds
And I
really
had big
nice.
hands, so because of my big hands, I could cheat a little bit and beat most of my little friends.
Could you put your hands out and I'll put my hand up against yours?
Okay?
Oh my god.
But I'm a little older than you are.
Yes. Very big. Oh my gosh. What's your favorite movie?
Superman. But now, when I was a kid, it was King Kong versus Godzilla.
I like Grease.
You like Grease?
Yes.
Grease is a good movie.
I like the movie. It's very funny.
Yes.
Did you like King Kong or Godzilla?
Well, I was for King Kong.
King Kong. Ah!
That's right.
I like King Kong too. He's very I don't know how to say it. What would you think? How would you say it?
How would I say King Kong?
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh. So what is one message you would give to all your fans about life?
The message I would give to all my fans would be to support your team whether they win or lose.
Yeah.
It is so important. Fans make a big difference, and that's one of the things I think that made the Dallas Cowboys so good. We were so popular that we had fans everywhere we played, not just in Dallas. We'd go on the road. When we check into the hotel, there would be a lobby full of fans supporting us. You go out into the stadiums, you'll see a lot of the Cowboy jerseys and Cowboy caps. And that's very important when you're on the road. We never felt like we were on the road. We always felt like we were at home, even when we travel.
So do you think Doomsday Defense will ever come back?
I think so, and I think they're close now. You know, I when I was a kid, I got to watch Doomsday 1.
Doomsday 1? That is a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, and I got to watch Doomsday 1, and I actually got to play with a few of those guys like Bob Lilly, Larry Cole, Jethro Pugh before they retired, and they taught myself, Randy White, Harvey Morton, John Dutton, taught us a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I think we became Doomsday 2. And I can see Dallas defense now making a lot of improvements, starting to look really good. So look out, there could be a Doomsday 3 around the corner.
If you could have any superpower, like a superhero, what would it be? Fly?
If I could have what now?
If you could have a superhero, like, powers, what would it be? What superhero would you
I'd
be?
want to be,
To fly?
no, I'd want to be like Clark Kent, Superman.
I would want to see through walls.
To see through walls?
Yes. So we agree Superman, I think. Because Superman can do both things.
That's right. I don't think there's anything that Superman, if he put his mind to it, that he can't do.
Can I ask you another question about wrestling?
Yes.
Do you know Harry Von Erich?
Yes, I do.
Harry Von Erich.
I knew that whole family. I met them all. I met most of them, and I watched them wrestle. And when I first joined the Dallas Cowboys, when they were very popular, and they lived here in Dallas, so I got to meet all of them. Got to go to a lot of the matches, and one of the most successful wrestling families in history.
So, what's the weirdest thing a fan's ever done for you?
The weirdest thing a fan's ever done for me. I made an appearance once, and there was a young kid about your age that drew a picture of me, and I was just, first of all, I was really shocked at how well and detailed it was. So that was one of my favorites because it was special to me because I knew it required a lot of time, a lot of focus. So he put a lot into that picture, trust me. I wish I had it with me, I would show it to you, but that's probably the most fun thing I ever received from a fan.
Yes, Mr. Too Tall Jones, you're truly our big legend. It was such an honor to meet you, and thank you for coming on my show.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me on your show. I'd heard a lot about you, and you do a wonderful job. I'm honored. Again, I'm so honored to be one of your guests, and I hope you will continue to keep up the good work.
Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, we're out of time. I'm very sorry, but we'll be back with some more celebrity interviews. I'm your host, Listening Crocker the Fourth. Goodbye!